Tonight, a cracker of a tale involving a seasick Southland woman, a shipwreck in shark-infested waters, and a 1 in a million rescue by a dashing American named Maurice. It is an extraordinary story. And this afternoon, one of the survivors, Ali Timms, Chair of Environmental Management for Environment Southland, flew home from Fiji. I met her at Auckland Airport, where she told me she reckons she could have survived about 1 more hour in the water. 1 hour of life left before an extraordinary rescue. We'll hear from Ali shortly. But first, Amanda Gillies with what happened to the 10-metre ketch Tamela in very rough seas way off the coast of Fiji on Sunday.
Cameron Slagle turned 36 today. It's a birthday he almost didn't get to celebrate.
I knew I'd lost everything I have in life, and I thought I was going to go too.
Cameron was sailing from Belfast to Brisbane on his 10-metre ketch, keeping him company of fellow Australian and Kiwi Ali Timms. On Sunday morning they set off on their final leg, leaving Suva in Fiji. But by nightfall they hit rough waters and rough times.
I had to get the engine on because we were dragging back out, so put the engine on, overheated, and checking out the engine while it was overheated, and the header tank exploded in my face and covered me with boiling water and some of my crew, so ended up with some third-degree burns there. And decided to
with his face covered in bandages, he turned back, but instead of sailing to safety, he headed straight into a reef.
She was a pretty strong boat. She broke up after about 2 hours. The life raft, flares, all the perishables, everything was put into the dinghy and tied into the dinghy, but the boat was wailing up and down. The mast smashed the dinghy and lifted it up and tipped everything out. So in the end it was too violent to stay in the boat, so I tied the dinghy off and got the girls to jump in. It wasn't big enough for all three of us, it was far too rough. So I just clung onto the side. All shark-infested waters in the reef, and got cut up pretty badly, and just before daybreak I was suffering pretty heavily with hypothermia.
It was dark, it was cold, and no one, it seemed, was coming to their rescue.
Just before daybreak the dinghy got pierced and all three of us ended up in the water, and little Ali Timms from New Zealand was breaking up with hypothermia, and we had to sort of cuddle in and keep her warm. She's fading fast.
Just 12 miles away was Captain Maurice and his wife on their catamaran. They were fast asleep, but at 11:45 p.m. were woken by the frantic mayday calls.
The radio happened to be on, which is very unusual. We usually turn it off at night. So it was an incredible stroke of luck that it happened to be on.
But then even their calls for help failed.
Over the course of those 2 hours, it became clear that Suva was not going to send anything out until daylight, if at all. Their search and rescue team was struggling to find fuel and crew.
So in the dark they weighed anchor and for 2 hours motored into strong winds and high seas. They managed to get to the reef, but feared they were too late.
After the first lap, we were sort of dismayed at not seeing anything. We didn't see any wreckage, no life raft, no dinghy.
But when a plastic can floated by, they decided to do one final lap.
About a quarter of the way around, I spotted 3 people floating in the water right in the middle of the reef.
And with that, he dragged them onto his boat and to safety.
And his words were, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maurice. I'll be your rescuer this morning." And as everyone sort of started weeping a little bit and glad to jump in the dinghy.
And yes, he did steal that line from a movie.
I'm Alex Mundy. I'll be your rescuer today.
How do you think you'd find me?
It was Cameron's second brush with movie land. During his travels, he met Johnny Depp, who was filming his high sea adventure, Pirates of the Caribbean. But Cameron says it's Maurice who is the star.
He was the man, the hero of the day, without a doubt.
Maurice took the crew to the nearest island, where they were put up in the aptly named Robinson Crusoe Island Resort.
When they came ashore, they were in a pretty shell-shocked. They were very tired. They were very confused, I think. They were very emotional, and really all we could do was just sit them down, get them a feed, nice cold Fiji bitter, and they relaxed a lot. But they were pretty exhausted.
And just like Robinson Crusoe, Cameron Slagool now faces starting from scratch again.
It was heartbreaking. It killed me. So I shed a lot of tears, and it's definitely one of the saddest birthdays, well, the saddest birthday I've ever had in my life. But I'll move on. I'm still alive, so.
Amanda Gillies reporting. Ali Timms, physiotherapist and chair of environmental management for Environment Southland, was on the Tamela and she was feeling horribly seasick when it struck the reef. She's safe, indeed she's back safely on terra firma in the south tonight. But I met her in the Koru Lounge at Auckland Airport on her way through this afternoon, and she told me her story herself. We pick it up after they've abandoned the Tamela, which is being smashed against the reef, and are half in, half out of a little dinghy attached to the ketch by a rope. So you're tied to a boat in a dinghy. The two of you, the two women are in the boat.
In the dinghy.
In the dinghy, sorry. But Cameron...
is hanging on. Yep. Okay, so he's hanging on to the side of the
dinghy.
And
it's dark.
And it's dark and there's big waves. And then the dinghy, which is an inflatable sort of thing, is getting pushed against the side of the yacht, which is breaking up. It's got all these sharp things sticking out. So next thing, bang, bang, two bits of the dinghy go fart. And so we don't have a dinghy anymore. We just have something with some air in it.
How terrified are you? Are you at this stage?
No.
What's going through your head?
Well, you didn't have time to think because the situation just kept getting worse and you had to deal with that, and then it kept getting worse again, and we just kept looking after each other and watching out for each other. Liz was a great swimmer. She's like a mermaid. I can swim. The water was reasonably warm.
But all you've got is a wreck of a boat and a sort of burst raft.
That we're hanging on to. And we've got our life jackets on. Yeah.
Sharks in that area?
Well, apparently, yeah. We didn't know about that.
Did you think about that? Discuss it?
No, we just sort of kept each other going, kept the morale going.
What did you talk about? What did you?
We just we sung some drinking songs, and we just talked about experiences, and we did discuss whether we couldn't cut the rope from the dinghy to the boat, okay, because we had no knife. It had disappeared. We thought, well, maybe we'd be better off away from the boat because it was so dangerous. But about 5:30 in the morning, we saw some lights, which was Ocealis, this yacht arrived. So we thought, great, they're here, we're okay. So we sort of stayed there, and the sun came up, and we could see the boat going around the reef. And we thought, well, what's happening? Where's the helicopter? It was daylight by then. And we saw him go round, and then we thought, oh, he hasn't seen us, because it was a huge sea. It was like this. And Maurice had said that he looked at where we were because he had our location, and he had to wait for 30 seconds for us to pop up to the top of the wave, and then we'd disappear for another 30 seconds. By that stage, I was getting cold because I'm not very big, and my back was getting cold, and we're all cuddling up to each other. You couldn't put your feet down because the reef's just like broken glass. So Cameron, who's tall, was getting cut feet and so on. And I just thought, I can't survive much longer, because I just knew once I got cold I'd get hypothermia and so on.
So this stuff's going through your head?
That was when I didn't even get scared, but I just didn't think I was going to make it then. And
what, you actually thought you were going to die?
I did. I knew I'd be no good if I got cold, because I'm hopeless if I get cold.
Did you discuss this with the others?
Well, they just said, come on, Ellie, you'll be fine, we'll keep you warm. But and Liz said, don't worry, Ellie, every minute we're here, we're a minute closer to being rescued. I thought, oh, yeah, right. And then I looked up, and there's this guy standing in a Zodiac, and he's like handsome, and he's got the suit on and the boots, and he's got the radio, and he's got all the gear. And I saw him first, and he was the answer to my prayers. And he said, hello, my name is Maurice, and I will be your rescuer today. It's like, whoa. So brave.
What a great line.
Oh, great line. As his wife said, he's just an actor. So hauled us all into his little Zodiac, 2 minutes, then we get back to this fabulous $1 million catamaran, and there's this wonderful wife, Sophia, at the helm, gets us on board. They've got the two beautiful children there, Annabelle, who's 4, and Massimo, who's 8, and just got us on board and got us in the shower and sleeping bags and warm, and looked after us. And then he plotted a course and took us to, of all places, Robinson Crusoe Island.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Cameron couldn't see the irony of that for a while. And we went there, and we got ashore, and they just looked after us, free everything. So, yeah.
How much longer do you think you had in you if Maurice hadn't turned up?
Well, I think I only had another hour.
Other than Maurice, no one was coming to get you.
Nope.
And no one who was able to do anything really knew where you were.
Nope.
So Maurice was it, wasn't he?
He was it. And as he said, they were there. They're in quite an isolated area. Normally they turn the radio off at night because everybody's chatting to each other. And he must have just thought, oh no, there's no one else around, we'll just leave the radio on. and he heard our Mayday. He's the only one who heard it. So he's a real hero, and he deserves to be, and his wife. She said, when I got on the boat, she said the hardest thing was keeping the kids quiet, you know, while the whole thing was going on. So they are real heroes.
And you're alive and well.
Yep, I'm good.
Actually, you look like you're in rude good health. What a bizarre experience.
Very bizarre, yeah. These sort of things just sort of change your life, probably.
Do you reckon it will?
Well, I think it makes you think about things, yeah. You know what's important and what isn't.
And you have that sense already?
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, I think so. Just to go through something like that, you know, you find out about yourself, I think, yeah.